All right. Can't do it when I'm around you. All right. I can't. So today we'll be talking about trading precision. All right. Hold on. And how to trade with precision. I can't. Why you looking? So I'm gonna show you how I planned out this week and what I'm looking forward to in the next couple weeks coming. If well, obviously weekly we're being completely bullish. We left behind this fair value gap right here. That's kind of sitting there. It's not really even closed through. So until this gets like a prominent close, I'm not really looking for anything short. Or to at least look for like a breakage structure to the downside. But if this does get close through, we can definitely see like these draws here getting hit eventually. If that does get close through. If it doesn't, then we don't gotta worry about it. Let me see what NASDAQ looks like on that. Sorry, let me just clear this up. Okay, so it doesn't really have a fair value yet, but it looks like it might be setting up. If this gets closed under and it breaks structure to the downside, then we could be seeking these two lows here. But anyway, let's get into the more recent days and just how to explain or how to trade with precision and how I got this set up right here with the sweep of this liquidity where it really felt like everything made sense. Oh wait, I didn't mean to delete that, but okay. I didn't mean to delete all that. Okay, so right here, Thursday 21 March 2024, we had that all-time high getting was just sitting as the sweep of liquidity. That was our target for buy side liquidity, and we got all this chop, chop, chop into this BISI, and then it eventually ran up. And this was confirmation for draws to the downside. After this sweep and the close underneath this inversion on the 4 hour, then you could be seeking like lows here, here, and so on over here. And it just continued in that. I believe you could, this is the range it plays in. So, you know, the bodies always do the damage. So always, well, the wicks do the damage, the bodies tell the story. So always watch the wicks or the candles bodies over here. So if you're measuring out the range from here to here, this is around the OTE. You see how the bodies respect that OTE range, and then it falls off from that news. So now we can anticipate, even though we've been retracing into this, we can anticipate. I don't want to see this one get closed above this range here. I want to see it fall off, just rebalance it, and eventually fall off to the downside. And this sell side liquidity, there's been so much sell side liquidity that hasn't been swept, so it's like very low resistance. Additionally, when you see fair value gaps like this here being held with these low resistance highs, you could definitely find this as a retrace and an entry for a short. But let me just show you how I got this into this one right here, into this trade. I'll go into the 1 hour. Okay, so on the 1 hour, market opened around right here. Yep. Okay. So we already knew it was confirmed bearish after this buy side liquidity sweep. So we were just watching for this high to get swept out. This was just purely a retracement into this expansion upwards and barely any displacement. It kind of just fair value gapped, set up a fair value gap, chopped around, closed right through it. So we were confirmed bearish 100%. And this was where the market opened. So we could go in the 15-minute here at 9:30. Right here it opened. We'll set a vertical line. Okay. And so now we had our play right here. And this was what I had marked out in the pre-market. And for my pre-market observation, I had this 15-minute sell side liquidity just to find an internal setup inside an external setup. For a higher time frame trade, the external setup was already done. It was already completely cleared. But the issue is you can't enter in on such a higher time frame like that on a 4 hour, on a 1 hour. Like you can't play with such high stops, especially if you're trying to day trade it. So I had to go into a lower time frame before the market opened. I found where the rest in liquidity was because there was this high that stuck out and this fair value gap here. And I waited a little bit for it to come and retrace up because it looked like it was just going to leave it. And when you really just read it, it's just an internal sweep into the higher time frame, which is really just a 15 minutes. So it's another internal sweep. And right here, you see it. This could have been a long setup up to here as well. But with my setup, internal sweep, created this fair value gap right here, inversed it, could have tapped in and just rode it up to here. But that wasn't the move I caught. This was the move. After it set up this, let me go to a cleaner looking area. After it swept out that, I was already confirmed bearish, and this was where I was targeting. Throughout this imbalance, I had multiple ranges marked, and it just continued falling. And I have more sell side liquidity marked out down here for the future. But let me just walk this through so you guys can understand the form of precision. So after it swept, we got the breakage structure in the 3-minute and the fair value gap fill. I was looking optimally for an inversion, but there was no inversion. It just really wicked through and never had any form of pure displacement to the upside to create an inversion. So I had to take this one off of a regular fair value gap. So that could have been your entry into this tap in, or you could have waited for a close. It's better off to wait for the close, but I'm sorry. It's better off to really just get it on the tap in because it's better RR, but I waited for the close because I really don't use fair value gaps often. And this was TP right here, 1. And throughout this whole range, I kind of caught it. Anyway, we can get into one more example. And I'll say what we can expect for the future, which is all this low resistance getting swept out. Usually what news does, like a big news candles like this, is that it supports the bias. Whatever is going to happen is going to happen. So if you're bearish here off of this fair value gap, this liquidity sweep, it's the news isn't going to be bullish for this if the bias is bearish. So news is just an exaggeration of where it wants to go. Like this big news candle, no matter what, if it's going to fall off this fair value gap, it's going to fall off it during the news as well. The news is going to be bearish no matter what the news is, which is crazy to think about. So we have all of this low resistance, so I could definitely see this getting hit soon. Ideally, if you want to take this, you'd wait for, let me see how low this is. Yeah, so ideally, you'd wait for this weekly to get inversed, and it kind of already got it, but not really. I wouldn't consider that. But if this gets inversed, I'd say, boom, just short it down, like instantly short it down, because then it shows that it shifted. But right now, this is just a pure retracement. You're definitely going to see it just retrace into all of this because it's a big news bluff. I don't see it hitting this high. Even if it does, it could still fall after, but I don't really see it. And off of this fair value gap, you could find an internal setup in order to short it. So it could either come back up and just then, make a break and fall lower and catch like a fair value gap retrace into here all the way down. Or like this, sweep out this resting liquidity on these equal highs, this high, sweep it out, and then, create a mini breaker structure, catch a fair value gap or something, and go lower. So that's what I'm looking at. I see this as just a pure retracement. And yeah, but let me see if there's any other examples on what I look for ideally when we're playing in a range. Right here, I guess I'll do a setup over here. So we have we're playing in this range of just, we already swept out the all-time highs. So we're waiting because we can't really catch an entry until it sweeps out a former sell side liquidity. So these are three low resistance lows right here. 1, 2, 3. And this big candle right here. Now that's swept. You go into the 1 hour. You just keep going lower until you find a clean setup. So it swept out all three of those. Boom, you get this fair value gap right here. Ideally, you'd want this to get inversed. If this gets inversed, then this is most likely going to get inversed. Taps into it, goes higher, but still too high of a time frame. So you have now bullish confluence on the 1 hour. So just keep that in mind. Now you look for the lower time frame. All right, this looks good because it has this low here. It internally sweeps it, closes, inverses that one, and runs higher. Now, some people ask about this fair value gap, like what if it closes through this one, then falls off of this one? From back testing this, I realized that, yeah, you could wait for this one to get closed and fall. But when I see a setup like this, where there's also a higher time frame sweep and an internal sweep like this, it's very high confluence for this fair value gap to get closed through. But you could still wait for higher confluence, so there's really no excuse for it. And just for, yeah, see, now the 5 minute just looks way more cleaner. Oh, wait, sorry, I didn't even go on the 5 minute. It just looks good on the 15 minute. Let me see where I am over here. I don't think I could go that far back. But no matter what range you're playing in, like this, always go down on the lower time frames after getting a higher time frame sweep. I want to see if I can get one more recent right here. There were some sweeps here. So it came down into here after leaving low resistance liquidity at the top. All of this purely low resistant, never swept each other. And let me make this color like yellow so I can get back to it without disrupting that. 15 minute. I don't think the 15 minute is going to do it, but we'll see. All right, nope. Let me get back to it. So the 5 minute does let me go that far back. So let me find another setup. All right, so we can look at this one. So as we could see, it left these relatively equal highs. And what time was this around? So around 9:30 here. Anyway, this could still work. See it? This one's a setup as well, actually. Right here, we could actually do this one. After finding that sweep, and it goes lower. We go into the 5 minute. What are we looking at? We have 1, 2, 3 low resistance liquidity, relatively equal highs, and these three right here, 1, 2, 3, are making it seem like it's resistance for retail traders until it gets poked through. The 5 minute, nothing clean here though. It's a very choppy day, so don't pay too much attention to that. Now we went down on a 3 minute, nothing clean. As you can see, there's no real fair value gaps, but you could still note this one right here, even though it's further down. That's no problem. You could still note it after it gets closed above or closed under, and then retraces into here. You could even short it off of that because you're confirmed bearish anyway, down to sell side, all of this sell side here, and so on. These lows. But I just want to see if there's a 1 minute, and then if not, the 3 minute would have been a perfectly fine setup. Okay, so there is no 1 minute setup on it. But if you have any questions, let me know. I released a Discord. You could talk to me personally from there. Other than that, I mean, that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I'll make a video about it or something. Thank you.